We're so happy, we're more than happy, we're elated to have each of you come out this afternoon to show your support for our children, parents, and our students in the Lower Richland cluster. It's all about the children, all about the children. So to get started with our forum this afternoon, we're going to ask our mayor of the town of Eastover if he comes forward and welcome us to the town and to our forum.
Good afternoon, everybody. You know, one of the things I always say, before I say anything, I always say this right here. God is a good God. Let's say this. I think when you start your meetings out with that, it tends to end well. I want to welcome you all to this forum. It's one of the things that we realize, those of us who God has blessed to come through this system, through this sometimes systems without money, without resources. But we had parents, people who couldn't read and write. For you young folks who don't understand this, our grandparents, probably my grandmother couldn't hardly read and write. But there's one thing she taught my brother and I, was that she did domestic work. I'm not ashamed to talk about that. Some people are ashamed to talk about the history. But we came through the cotton field age. And one of the things she taught us that she couldn't read, but when we got home at night, and we worked on the farm, she worked and brought old books home. And she said, now y'all look in these books. She had no clue what we were looking at, but she made sure we looked in those books. And so that gave me, that's who we are. We came from, that's the age we came through. And so the generation now came through another age. Sister Scott, you know, all y'all knew exactly what I'm talking about. Those of us who are old, we knew exactly what we were talking about. We came through that whole age and not ashamed to talk about it. But look at what God has done. Look at the elevations from those cotton fields, corn fields. The elevation of people we have manpower. Look at the people we have sitting at this desk. Let's give them a hand. Give them a hand. Now we understand, and they understand. They didn't got there by themselves. They got there on the shoulders of other people who've gone and who've gone on, who've given all they had in order for us to get where we got to go. I know you didn't hear me say it, but I had to say it. But anyway, I want to welcome you all to this forum, and this is what it's going to be about. Hopefully it's not here about putting politics on this side. We're going to leave politics out tonight. Amen. We do like Sister Taylor said, it's going to be about our children. Let me tell you the experience I had the other day. I went to Weber School the other day. They had a reading forum, and I had representative meetings. I had a second grade class. And let me say this to you all right now. God has given us some great children. Those kids were great. They understood where they were in terms of their age and where they wanted to go in life. They talked about things that sometimes I didn't think that they frightened me because I didn't know that they had that much knowledge. But so tonight helps us to get along, to move us further along that pendulum, so that we can know that that generation. Someone asked the other day, you don't have any small kids in school? Yes, I do. There's an old lady named Laura Jefferson, probably y'all don't know this. Sister Scott, this lady was 98 years old. But when we went to the meeting, she was the first person in the meeting. So one day I asked her, I said, Miss Laura, I said, why are you out here? What you out here for? She said, if I can save one child, then I've done my job. So tonight we're going to save many children, and I know these board members will save many of them too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to ask Brother Zeb Scott, who's our illustrious recording secretary of the Weber Alumni Association. Does a wonderful job. We're going to ask him to give us the invocation.
Let's pray. Our Father, my God, we thank you for another day's journey. We thank you for allowing us to be here. We realize it was you who brought us and not we ourselves. And we invite you into this place. And everything that is said and done, let it be as unto thee and not as unto man. Lord, we love you, we praise you, we bless your holy name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Okay, our real purpose, as I stated earlier, is all about the children. Our task force has been working in this community since the 90s. And we have worked with the schools, we've worked with the principals, we've worked with the parents, the teachers. We've even met with superintendents, We have the superintendent searches. We have been there and we're gonna be here. We are tax-paying citizens. We have nieces, nephews, grands, great-grands, and whatever. And the purpose of this meeting tonight, we have met with our Tri-County Group representatives. We've already met Brother Reese and Brother Johnson, Dr. Johnson, who are our House of Representatives. And we have met with Ms. Cheryl English, who's our county council person. We meet with the groups who represent us because they represent us and we want them to represent our interests here in the community. And so now tonight we're meeting with our school board representatives. And the purpose of this meeting is to have our school board commissioners come to us in our community tonight and share information. It can be policy, issues, concerns, or whatever that will impact our children in the Lower Richland cluster and Richland School District 1. And part of that purpose also is to have you, the community, parents, citizens, to come, have your input, ask questions or concerns relative to resources that we can get for our children in this community in order for them to succeed. So I hope everyone's here, and I'm sure everyone here tonight is here for that purpose. And we're gonna move along. I'm not gonna prolong the forum. I'm gonna introduce our school board members, and we are so happy to have you all with us tonight. And let's give them a hand. We have Miss Angela Clyburn, who is the district-wide representative. She represents the entire district as well as the Lower Richland community. And we're so happy to have you with us tonight.
Well, thank you. Happy to be here.
And also we have Dr. Ericka Hursey. She's our single member district. She represents the Lower Richland cluster. When we say single member district, it's our particular immediate area. Let's give her a hand. And we have Miss Barbara Weston, who's also district-wide. She works with us here in the community as well the district-wide Richland One. So we're just so happy to have you all. And we're going to have you all, starting with you, Ms. Clyburn, we're going to have you all just come to us in your own way, share information, policy, procedures, updates, or whatever you have that you can share with us in reference to the school board, representing us on the school board. Right? And immediately following their spiel, we will have a question and answer period. We'll recognize any hands of anyone who would like to ask questions or make any statements in reference to our school district here, clustered in Rose. Ms. Clyburn.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, my name is Angela Clyburn. I'm in my second term at-large position for Richland District 1 School Board, and graduate of Richland One, WJ High School. I know we're friends, we're not foes with Lower Richland, so
Yes.
we are friends. But it's a pleasure to be here today. I know, we have some hot topics, that are going around the district, but it is all towards advancement of our children, increasing academic success, making sure that we're closing the gaps, achievement gaps. That should be our main focus, for our kids. And it is of my opinion and of some experts' opinions that are in this field that early learning is the key. Making sure that we have all of the tools in place at our professionals' disposal to make sure our kids have what they need and get what they need. But in order to do that, it takes investments. They say education costs what it costs, and there is no price tag that should be placed on our children, on our children's learning. So I don't know if we're going to go into the details, or are we gonna just like whatever?
However you want to.
Okay, well, I will say, you know, we have state leadership that has said that they would be happy and willing to work with the new makeup of the board. Well, let's get to work. We have a choice. This early learning center is a choice. And it's been said that, you know, we haven't seen the data, or where's the data? The data was presented in 2016. That board saw the data and they made a decision to work towards creating and starting an early learning center for the district. They voted to start the work on that project. So that was, you know, supposed to be a done deal. So we're here now. We can make a decision to continue the work. We can go to our state leaders and let them know that we have the justification to get this early learning center done. We have the justification. The data is there. The numbers are there. The achievement gap is growing. It's not shrinking. The achievement gap is growing. So our kids need us to make the right decision. You know, maybe, you know, some mistakes were made along the way. We admit to that. But we cannot penalize our children, you know, for a mistake. We can move forward from here and make the correct decision to continue this project. The numbers came back. In order to cancel the project, we would have to pay out $3.7 million. We would have to pay that out. We have $31 million already set aside to complete the project. We have a new superintendent that will be coming in July. That new superintendent can put a feather in his cap. This new board can put a feather in their caps and get this project done. We don't care who gets credit. It just needs to get done.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor, for putting this together. Thank you to all of you that supported me in the campaign. I'm happy to be representing District 4 for Lower Richland. Some of the things that I feel that we need to work together on as a community, like Mr. Faber said, there's some great students in the schools. I really would love for us to have more retirees, or those persons who are, you can't hear me? Those persons who are retirees or who may not be working, to begin tutoring in our schools. That's one of the things that I'm really, really wanting to have to assist with, where we have a coordinated effort every week for every school in the cluster, especially the elementary schools, that we have individuals that are actually going in there and working with our students. That is the greatest need for our students right now. Also, what's happening this week, the schools have sent out school climate surveys, and so it's important that parents, as well as community members, if you're a guardian for a child, that you go in and complete that survey. I think they're going to be open until March the 20th. The survey has also come out for the characteristics of what you look for in a new superintendent. Please take time to complete that survey. It's a little bit longer, but your input is going to be valuable. That data is not being collected by Richland One. That is being collected by the search firm that's going to be doing it. So it's on the district's website. It's been emailed. If you know someone that needs assistance with getting it done, please help them. I have also asked for hard copies. I may not be able to get the hard copies myself, but I will let persons know where they can pick up hard copies, if we can place them in the library. And finally, this Thursday is the community forum for the Lower Richland cluster. So if you're interested in actually talking to the firm that's going to be present at Lower Richland at 7 o'clock, please spread the word to come out for that as well. As it relates to the role and my role on the school board, keep in mind that we are here, our focus is on student achievement. And that is our number one goal, is to make sure that our students achieve. Regardless of how it's done or where it's done, that is our focus. I know that the discussion has come up about the Early Learning Center. I wasn't prepared to speak on that, but I want everybody to remember that a building is separate from a program, and that if we need to do interventions to help our younger population, which we're speaking of, the three-year-old students, that can be done anywhere. And so I think we need to start looking at how we can better use what we have right now until we can work out the legalities of the Early Learning Center and come up with a plan as soon as August of what we can do to get those students in who may be on the wait list. I'm aware that there's students on the wait list that need early learning, but we have schools, we have classrooms that we can use to accommodate those students in the immediate and not wait until a building is completed. And so that is what I'll say for the introduction, and then I'll pass it on to Ms. Weston and then answer questions as you all send them out.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here at home, speaking with you about what you elected me to do. As an elected official, I was elected to serve K through 12. That is what Richland One is all about, K through 12. That's where we get our funding. That's what we are supposed to do, is look for student outcomes. And that is student achievement. What is your child learning? What is your grandchild learning? Your bonus grandchildren, what they are doing and learning. We have First Steps, daycare centers, and we need those. We need those in our area. We have housing going up. We don't know what level of the children are, whether they need to go to Lower Richland, which is not overcrowded, because when I went to Lower Richland, we had about 2,000 students. And so it's not even close. So we still have the room. If we need to do a bond referendum or anything else, that is a community decision and one that should be brought forth so that we can get funding for that. When we look at now, rather than calling it an early childhood center, I'll just call it the center, because the focus has changed now to second grade, rather than the birth to 5-year-old. And so in changing that, what we're saying is that we need more second grade classes, but we don't. We have enough room in the present schools that we have, but I'd like for you to think back to your own homes. If you live in your homes and you've refused to keep them up and you want to build another home, that's an issue. We need to take care of what we have. We have leaking roofs. We have rodents in the school. We have all kinds of things going on where your children are going to school. I want better for your children just like I want better for my grandchildren and people that I know, because they deserve better than that. The only way that we are going to do better than that is to do what we're supposed to do, and that is to serve the people in our community to the best ability that we can. I would like to say that if I wanted to make an addition to my house, I have to go through the proper procedure. If I fail to do that, they will come and they will say you didn't follow it, and it's torn down. We are in a lot of mess, we have a lot of issues, and it was based on we wanted to do it, and we wanted to do it in a hurry, and we didn't think about the possibilities of what we were doing because we just wanted it. And I'm here to tell you that as much as I love you and I love my community, I am not going to go to jail and wear an orange jumpsuit just because you want something. I'm going to follow the rules. I am going to do what you asked me to do. If you want an early childhood learning center, then ask for it and let's go about it the right way. We have to think about those people who are in the community, whose houses have been flooded, and whenever the rain comes, they are upset because they don't know what the end is going to be. So we need to make sure that we are above board, that we speak to you directly. If you have issues, we will listen, we will hear it, but I will tell you that with the $31 million that was set aside, it was K-12 money. It was not early childhood learning center money. With the $3 million that it may take to get us out of trouble, it will take us more to keep us in trouble. Because not only will we have to fulfill the positions that are at the school that they're trying to make the early childhood learning center, that still comes from K-12, and it will still be one of the issues that we will have to address in getting teachers, staff, buses, whatever we need there when we don't have enough already. And so I implore you, I will listen to you, I will take what you say and value that, but I want you to know that when it comes to dealing with people's money, I am above board. If you give me money for a playground, I am not going out and buy a car. I'm going to build that playground with your money. And so I want you to trust me to do what I have been responsible to do, and that is to be a good steward of your money and to improve the outcomes and achievement of the children who are already in our pipeline, because we cannot afford for them to go out and be missing. Thank you.
Question.
Okay, you completed. Thank you so much. Let's give them a hand for the information, for sharing information. Okay, at this point, we have on our agenda, we have for questions and comments, and we're gonna all be very civil, respect each other's comments, respect each other's, statements or whatever, and do this in a decent fashion. And we're gonna have you raise your hand and hear from you. And you can direct your question at either one of the commissioners, or either one of them can answer however you direct your question. So we'll hear from
Commissioner Clyburn. Richland One has a history of about 36 years of clean audits. Prior to this whole early learning center debacle, I spoke with facilities, I spoke with maintenance, I spoke with a lot of professionals within the school district itself. And unfortunately, some of the things that I'm hearing don't coincide with the professionals that are inside of the actual school district that manage these different departments, that have confirmed with us on record that many of these fallacies that are just floating out are really not true. So I'd like to really get to the heart of what are historically known as commonly used business practices. When speaking with Richland County government and professionals like MMG Construction, they made me aware of what is commonly known as table talk. And table talk, when you have a stellar credit rating and you are a sort of quasi-government agency, there is a sense of trust built between municipalities. And essentially that the school district had earmarked that this facility was going to be built. The funds that had been allocated were done so through the proper channels and mechanisms and done through the general budget and were made available to us as the public, right? Can you tell us a little bit about how Richland One used table talk conversations to earmark with municipalities and governments, and how everyone came together, and perhaps, and I am leaning here, how the Department of Education was initially on board with this project prior to any partisan agenda from the superintendent?
Right. So I will say that, for the table talk, no one sitting up here was at the table at the start of this project. This was before my time, before anyone up here, before their time. So there was a trip taken to Spartanburg, South Carolina, which sparked, this whole effort.
Mm-hmm.
The need was already there. Academic achievement was lower than what we wanted it. Achievement gap was wide. We had children not being served, in the early childhood learning arena. So when the table talk discussion, was starting to form and take place, there were things happening across the state, construction projects happening across the state that were they were in progress.
Same process, right?
Same process.
Mm-hmm.
Across the state for school districts, across the state, for county buildings being constructed, permits that were you know, awaiting being permitted or being being installed. You know, they were waiting on those permits, but construction was continuing. It's a common practice. This district has done it. Every district has done it. So the table talk, I guess it ended at some point when you know, there was an opportunity that was noticed by individuals with agendas. I will just say that. And so they saw that the campaign, I think you know, a couple of years ago, they knew a campaign was going to be coming up. So I am of the belief that along with the, you know, issue of, you know, rodents and things, which is a real thing. You know, we have buildings, we have, you know, woods that surround those buildings. You know, you disturb an area in one part of the
Including,
you know,
building new houses?
Yes, right. You have things that are, you know, going on everywhere. So they need someplace to go. So if they find that one little opening, we're gonna have some issues. But guess what? We have pest control on speed dial. It was taken care of. You know, some people still want to, you know, bring those issues up, but, you know, that's just a fact of life that things happen. But we have a way to mitigate those damages and control them. There's no way you can eradicate things like that. So we're going to move on from that. And I think they saw an opportunity to, you know, do what they wanted to do with the school board. And they were successful to a degree. I don't think as successful as, you know, as they wanted to be. Number one, I'm still here. Number two, we still have another person that's in his seat. But the one thing that we have to make sure we do is keep children first and in mind. And when the superintendent, you know, wants us to come to the table, we need to be ready. And I think the time is now for us as the current makeup of this board to take that table talk to her and let her know that we are ready, that we need to address the concerns. And from what I'm hearing, the Lower Richland area does want this early learning center.
Yes.
They do want it.
Need it.
And, you know, I know there's some voices out there that are a little louder than the others, but I think they're the minority. And unfortunately, you know, I don't know. Some people may not be listening to the majority, but I think the time is now to get this done because our kids cannot wait any longer. You know, we have some people here. Can I let them?
You have someone?
Yes, because there are some statements, you know, made earlier, and I don't want anyone to go away from here with the wrong information. But could Ms.
So
Dr.
you have them
Williams?
from the district?
Yes,
That's
and there,
associated with you?
and there's some data that I
We
wanted
can hear
them.
from them. We
Okay.
can hear from them.
Well, I wanted just to speak on the age group, the correct age group, because it was stated earlier that we're starting at second grade, but I just wanted to make sure we could clarify that.
Come up. We can come up.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Eunice Williams, Chief of Teaching and Learning for Richland School District 1. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you, board members, for all that you do. Thank you, community, for loving your children, your grandchildren, and taking care of them. And our job is to help you do that, right? And please know, as a school district, and if our superintendent were here, he'd say the same thing. When we say all means all, we mean all means all, right? So we're concerned about every single child and their achievement, their well-being, their safety, their self-confidence, their physical well-being. So all of those things matter. And it all sits in the seat of, when those things are in place, then they really can achieve that potential, right? So it's my understanding that the last draft of the Early Learning Center was to cover 3K through second grade. And I have with us a wonderful right-hand person, Ms. Dion Sturdivant, She oversees early childhood and elementary as the executive director for our district, and I'll let her say anything she wants to say.
So I just want to say thank you, and I'm glad to be here. And yes, there was a transition period with the Early Learning Center because of licensing. We had to Oh, wow.
You look gorgeous. You look gorgeous.
Ah, look at that.
You look gorgeous.
We did have to do the licensing meetings, which is a little different. We had to change midstream and move it to pre-K. We had to move from birth through 5 to pre-K through 2nd. And so we had to continuously revise the program and offerings that was going to be afforded at the Early Learning Center. And I'm trying to figure what's the next question.
So,
I need to
Ms.
answer.
Durbin, can I add one thing to
Yes.
that? Ms. Durbin and I have been in our position. This is our 2nd year. And I have been with the district for 12 years. This is my 12th year. I came as a principal and then became an executive director of schools and helped to supervise our schools, and then stepped into this position. I love this district and love all of you. But I wasn't a part of all the conversations that took place in the table talk. I'm so sorry. I wish I was so I could tell you some of that. But what I can say is I know originally there was that 0 to 5 focus. There was a shift in that, but I don't know that the intent was ever to totally leave 0 through 5. The thought was that 3K through 2nd grade would be a great starting place, right? Because we have these 3K and 4K needs, and preparing children for kindergarten, and with the growth in this area and the Broad River area,
Yes.
are the two really growing areas. So that was the concern, but I don't know, and I don't want to speak for him, but I think our superintendent, if he were able to be here, he would say, we still are very concerned with 0 to 3. And how, we have in our district a wonderful program called Thrive Richland. And they do so many things hands-on with families of very small children, infants and toddlers. And if you saw all that they were able to do, it's pretty amazing. Children come in this world now, they're learning from birth, right? And we are concerned about that 0 to 3. We're also concerned about that 3 and 4K preparation for kindergarten. It's critical. So I just wanted to add that it wasn't necessarily wanting to step away from 0 to 5, but how can we get something that we know we need for 3K and 4K, and then still look at how we can support that 0 to 3.
Yeah, that's great.
If that makes sense.
Thank you. And I just wanted them to, thank you. Okay. I just wanted them to sort of add to the conversation with facts and, factual information. And then with the $31 million that was set aside for the general fund, I think that's of an opinion if you say, that's to, it's only for K through 12. We are not a K through 12 district. That money is to go towards a program to set our children up for success. And the way we set them up for success is starting early, starting with the 3-year-olds. The earliest our district, as far as in-person education, in-person schooling, is 3. So that's where the district said that, okay, this is a great place to start, since we did have to make some adjustments, and unfortunately could not do, the birth, starting with birth or 6 weeks old. Some people wanted to call it a daycare. No, it's not a daycare. It's not a daycare. It's an early learning center. So we cannot minimize and ask people to, not want better for their communities. That's right. This is what we need as a community. This is what we need as a district. Because it was said earlier, Lower Richland was just one of the first locations. There was also going to be one in the 29203 area where I'm from, which is in high need, as well as Lower Richland area. The Broad River Road area is in high need. So we're trying to do this in communities where we can get the biggest effect. in the biggest a better outcome, the best outcome possible. So I just I didn't mean to take up that much time, but I thought that was important to point
Can
out.
I relay it to Miss Barbara? Miss Barbara, you mentioned that you weren't willing to wear an orange jumpsuit for what you believe was mismanagement of the district's dollars. What is your perception of the investigation that the governor stated didn't even reach the threshold to investigate, but also that the IG found that there was no mishandling of funds, there was no financial malfeasance, and that there were no criminal charges that were actually made? And so your reference to possible criminality or malfeasance financially, how do you justify that in contrast to the actual final report from the Inspector General, who found no such doing?
The Inspector General did not have the right to go in and to do that, and that's why he put it back into the state's hands. With us, with what we do, we are given funds through the state superintendent's office for K through 12. I haven't changed my mind about that because I spoke that even at the early meetings, and I said we cannot use K-12 money for the Early Childhood Learning Center. Never wavered from that because the bucks come in and it's for those students. That's what we were elected to do and be good stewards of that money. When they changed it from birth to 5-year-olds where it started, and then they changed it to say 3K through 2nd grade so that we could get the funds through the state. But the fact is that that money is allotted for K-12. If we want to do a bond referendum, if we want to do something else, it's fine to do that. I'm not against that at all. But if I designate money and I give it to you for a playground, I expect you to use it for a playground. I don't expect for you to go and do other things with the funds that I have generated to you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Barbara. I think you might have misinterpreted my question.
Okay.
It appears that also the state superintendent used her auditors to come and provide technical assistance to Richland One School District and found no malfeasance or no issues with those audits because the superintendent had sent those technical specialists to guide the CFO in the process, and yet seemed to not quite reach the benchmark that was then changed by the superintendent of schools. My question to you then is, how do you justify your comments in contrast to the Inspector General's report that signaled that there was no financial malfeasance associated with the former Vince Ford Early Learning Center?
They did not exactly say that.
Okay.
Okay. And what it was that there was mystery surrounding it. And so with that particular mystery, we have to actually do what it is that we said we're going to set out to do. Now, if you have opinions, willing to listen to those, but my thing is...
Have you read the Inspector General's report?
From cover to cover. When it was 0 birth to 5 years old,
Yes, ma'am.
it did not include the K-12 money. But by changing that and saying now it's going to be pre-K, 3K to 2nd grade, then that would bring it aboard so that we can use that particular money. Beg your pardon? It's an issue because when we started the program,
Okay, since we have started and it changed, why is there still an issue?
the issue is, again, what did we set aside to do? We need teachers, more teachers.
There's only 36 vacancies at this time.
At this time, when we open another school.
Dr. Hursey, that was confirmed at the last school board meeting that there were approximately 36 vacancies by your Human Resources Department. You looked to question that. I'm sorry.
I was just saying that when we change the specs, that is what you expect now we can go on and spend that particular money
Yes, ma'am.
that was designated for
Can
that.
this money
Thank
be
you.
used, can the money that was allocated for the Early Childhood Learning Center be used for teacher salary? Because as I understand, this was one-time money. This was one-time money, and I'd like to hear from each of you about this, because I don't want just one person to be really the person that's the point person, but I really want to hear from each of you. Can this money that was allocated for the Early Childhood Education Center be used to fund teacher salaries? That's
If it
the
is
question.
put back into the general fund, yes.
Is that everybody's understanding?
No, it's not.
Well,
My
wait, I want to make sure that we get some consensus.
Let's look at, let me ask this question. Is the community concerned? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just ask this question, because I feel as a community, this one physical building is splitting people.
No.
Okay? And what, I didn't interrupt y'all, let me finish. And what I feel as a community, we need to come together to figure out how we can move forward in the right direction to help with student achievement. That is our ultimate goal, is helping with student achievement and ensuring that our students are in buildings that are conducive for learning and that they have everything that they need to be successful. We have the people here from early childhood education. They're correct. It is really needed. Thrive Richland is doing a great job. We're not saying that we don't want to educate early childhood. At this point where we are in a juncture where there's some policies and guidelines that were violated in the process of building the center, let's put it on hold. Let's get our finances in order. Let's get everything together. Come up with a plan in how we're going to move forward. No one is saying that we're not going to build it. That is not what is being said. Right now we're saying let's put it on hold and let's go back and revamp. The district should have a 3 to 5 year plan. A 3 to 5 year plan, and we could ask for that as a part of our strategic plan to look at what our long-term goals are. And that is what should be guiding everything that we do.
First of all, I want to say that for me, it is not about this center. Let's just put this to rest. Let's put this center to rest. But I am absolutely adamant about the equivalent number of early childhood education spaces that the center would have had for us.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be a center. It doesn't have to be Vince Ford. But I would hope that the district will tell the Lower Richland community that the number of spaces and allocated slots for early childhood education that was deemed necessary at the center will still be available for this community. And let me just share this with you. I don't understand this whole conversation about the district only doing kindergarten through 12th grade, because the district is already doing pre-K programming. So I don't understand this whole conversation that this is not a part of what the district does. I just left the State House. Budget issues at hand. The governor has issued an order to us to really improve and increase the amount of funding for early childhood education.
Yes.
Every child is looking at this as a need. We know that it's happening in Charleston. We know that it's happening in Spartanburg. And I will say this. Thank God for my mother-in-law, Miss Dorothy Mickey Reese, who took care of my daughters from birth until 3rd grade, until 3 years old. I'm sorry, 3 years. But when it was 3 years old, I needed to put them in an early childhood center. And I had to take my daughters from Hopkins all the way to Broad River Road to the Montessori school, because there wasn't a facility that was really one that I needed them to go to in our own community. I had to pay for that, and I had to drive them there every single morning. The only thing that I'm hopeful that we can do is to provide this community with the spaces, and free, because we know early childhood education is an incredible part of a family's household budget. It is a huge expenditure. Free is important. close
Yes.
in the Lord Richland community. Now, I sat there and I listened to the chair of this board on last Thursday when you all came to us, the Richland County delegation, and I asked the question about early childhood education. And he said we had to focus on 3rd grade. And all I could think about is the problems that you have in 3rd grade are a result of not having early childhood education. Start early, you don't have the problems in 3rd grade.
We'll address what Mr. Reese spoke on. Dr. Witherspoon did email us some information this week, and we're looking, and I'm sure that the department will also be looking at, some of our schools are not at maximum capacity. And someone alluded to that in their comments, I'm not sure who said it. But we do have some empty spaces in classrooms that we can accommodate additional classrooms. And so basically, early learning is not physical. Early learning is a program that we can work with teachers to get those students in. And so, Mr. Reese, to your point exactly, hopefully within the next couple of months, once a decision is made about the Early Learning Center, then we can look at the capacity, the current enrollment. Gadsden Elementary has only about 110 students. That's not at maximum capacity. Weber is not at maximum capacity. So there are other places that we can educate our students. I think we need to let go of what has happened or what should have happened and find a way for everybody to move forward. We say that this should not be political, personal opinion should not be in, and that's exactly where it's headed. And so we need to let go of that, y'all. Let's pull together and help. And the center was not just for Lower Richland children either. It was for surrounding areas. So it wasn't just going to be for students coming from Eastover. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that too. It's going to be open up. So it wasn't just for the Lower Richland community. Yes, sir.
You know, while I was sitting there, since it's got all of us in age, and I was thinking back 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and I was thinking, I don't know if y'all know this right here, but I was thinking about where we were 40, 50 years ago, and where we are today. Now, the majority of the school district, Richland School District 1 board, look like people like us. Now, here we are tonight. Even though, we talking about allocation of resources, white folks always use resources wherever they want it. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna just come out and tell you, I'm just be honest with you. White folks always got what they wanted, wherever they wanted. Wherever they, even if there was need was not there. Drill High School, for example, I'm a contractor. Drill High School wanted to build a tennis court. Drill High School didn't have no problem getting that money to build that tennis court. What did that have to do? What did that have to do with academics and education? But Drill High School got what they wanted. Now here we are tonight, fighting over whether or not Richland, and what this would do, this would improve the whole district. Amen. This would improve the whole quality of education for us. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Because when I worked in government, and when you talk about how they spend dollars and cents, they always look out for number one. Yeah. Now to be honest, we sent y'all there to look out for what? Number one. We didn't send y'all. Wait a minute. We didn't look for y'all to go up in there and begin to worry about how much money this going to be for improving this area. We sent y'all there to look at the basis for this district. And the basis for this district, like Brother Reese said a few minutes ago, we have to start with our kids early. Whatever it takes to get these kids there, then we look for you all to do it. Again, I want to say this right here. It kind of like embarrassing. The thing that in this time, in this history, you all up there defending something that's going on in Columbia that has nothing to do with Richland District 1. I would love to see you fight. And Dr. Curtis, I heard what you said a few minutes ago. Now, we know something about strategic planning. We know something about that. And you're talking about short-term, long-term planning. We know about that. But now, the start with your planning now, you know there's a need. You grew up in this area. You and Sister Weston grew up in this area. I mean, I would look for you all, even if you lose. Even if you lose. I would look for you all to go down and fight. Right. That's right. I've been around, so I can almost read what the people say before they say. So I would love to see you all go down fighting and ensure that whatever resources, whatever dollars that come to this district, that we can get it. Even though you may have to go around the corner. Congressman Clyburn and I, we all old school in this area. Go back to the old school. Do it the way we used to do. Make sure that you go down so that like John Lewis said, if you lose, lose with both of your shoes off your feet because you don't walk them over. Fight hard for us. Thank you.
Respectfully, Mr. Faber, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm going to fight for what's right. I'm not going to fight just to say that I'm fighting to support something. So my decisions are going to be based on what information that I've been given and what is right and legal. I'm not going to fight for what's wrong. Let's not make this a racial issue because that's insulting.
It's all about
It definitely is a racial issue. Let's not play coy. Let's not play coy.
Because I fought like a dog for 14 years to get these gyms down here. Everybody else had them in their area, but we had to fight. Me and Norman Jackson was the lead up. Anything worthwhile fighting for is worthwhile having. They told me that it wasn't feasible. You don't have enough people there. It's in a rural area. The rat's going to eat it up because it's in a rural area. But we fought because the people said this is what they wanted. And we got it all over Richland County. And when I make a decision, when I made decisions as a county elected official for 20 years, I made it for the people. I work for the people. You all work for us. Whether you work vote for me or not, I work for the people. And we have to keep that in mind. When people bring you something, then we have to sit together as a group and help you to figure out how to get it. I worked with Vince Ford and everybody else with that last school bond. We had that big school bond. They said it couldn't be done. Me and Lavola, Jim, all of us worked like a dog to make sure that that bond was passed to get through school. A lot of people say they didn't need the school. So what I'm saying today is that we as a group, and supposed to be Christian group, and we know what God said. Let's work together to good for our kids. We got good people in the State House. County Council, we kind of like working on. We got good people, and I'm being honest.
Keep it real. I know that's right.
We got good people in the State House. We got Senator Darrell Jackson up there. He's the third man in charge. They go by seniority. And he could help pull Reese up because Reese just got there. But with that kind of power, and we got Congressman Clyburn is ready to do some things that get through with us. So we got a pack of people who really working together for our community. This is our community. And we're going to go down fighting for it. And we're going to push y'all all the way, help y'all through the wire. Whether I vote for you or not, you are my representative. And I'm expecting you to serve this area just like everybody else. You won, you got it, you're there. Now let's work for the people.
We have growing communities in this area. We have growing communities in all over Richland County. Coming in, I live in where I told you I live, so I got to come down, Garners Ferry Road. I saw them clearing land for something that I didn't even realize was being worked on. Right across from after you pass Cisco. Right after you pass Cisco, the first clearing on the left. I didn't even realize they were working on that to start building homes. So that's just one of many communities that are new builds. So this is, to say we can take some existing seats in classrooms, there might be 2 or 3 seats in, per classroom. I think that is like putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot. It's not a solution to a problem to say, we can solve this issue, with making, even if you add on, that's still not going to, put a dent in what we are going to need in a few years. It's going to take, God willing, if we could get this passed, it would take 2 to 3, maybe 4 years to get this building finished, to get butts in the seat. Excuse my French. But think of what it would be in 3 or 4 years. It would be ridiculous. So to say that we can take a few seats here and there and add on, it's not realistic. It's not responsible as far as, leaders. And I just want to say this other thing. We have teachers and principals that sit on our board now. That's one frame of thinking, when it comes to what our children need and decision making for a school or decision making for a classroom, for your students to reach the level that they need to academically. But when you're fortunate enough to, have the trust and faith of you all that have elected us, when you're sitting in this seat, you have to have another frame of mind. You have to have another thinking to say, we need to think about this holistically. We need to think about this for our future, for future movement and future progress. We need visionary leadership.
Yes.
Visionary leadership, I don't think is adding on a wing here and there. We have a plan in place for this. People say, well, let's see the plan. Let's create a plan. The plan is there. The plan has always been there. So we need to follow through with what our community needs. There are assessments done all across this district. This is one of 3 sites. And I still believe in it. I'm not giving up on this learning center because I know it's a need. It's legal. The IG assessment was done legally. They should have done it, and it was done. No fraud, no wrongdoing, no legal wrongdoing, nothing to go to jail for. All we have to do as a school board, as school board members, is to go to where the needs are, go to our state leadership and say that we're ready now to sit down with you to get this done. That's our decision. That's Dr. Hursey's decision. That's Mrs. Weston's decision, and everybody else that sits up there. So.
And this decision is on the agenda for tomorrow night at the school board?
It is on the agenda for tomorrow, yes. And, to take the information that we have now, I just think it would be a disservice for this community and all over this district if we do not get this. It sets a precedent. If we can get this done here, we can get it done in 03. We can get it done in Broad River. Those are the 3 deprived areas that are suffering right now.
Most definitely.
And it would be irresponsible for us to ignore that.
What was the primary purpose? Why did the purpose change? And we all do know that, just like Brother Reese said there, the vocabulary of our kids it's off the chart. I mean, as far as what they should know at a particular time. So, what I'm saying, if it was important initially, why is it not important now?
The scope was changed because the state superintendent didn't approve what was going to be taking place originally. So that's why the scope of the age levels was changed. Is that what you're asking? Why?
Initially, I'm not being argumentative, but the priority is wrong. We starting at the middle where we should be starting at the beginning, where with the younger kids, the younger they are, the easier it is for them to learn as they get older. And we all know that jailhouses are built on 3rd grade failure.
I'll address that issue. So when we started the birth to 5, when it was birth to 5 initially, DSS and I think it was DHEC or one of the other agencies. So DSS, I know, but they were supposed to do the certification and all of that. It got way major complicated. I know, I remember that happening. So a decision was made to, kind of back up off of the birth because we saw it wasn't going to happen. So that's where the 3K and 4K to 2nd grade, that decision was made, and we were allowed to move forward with that. And we were of course waiting on those permits to
materialize.
to arrive, and that never did. But you made the point about, we went to this, the legislative day, had that event at the Challenger Learning Center the other day. I think that was on Thursday, was it? Thursday. And we had staff there as well, and they were making some points that Brother Reese just made and that you alluded to just now, that if we do not catch our kids at a certain point prior to them really needing it, we need to catch them early enough before they actually need it. But at 3rd grade, if they're not on reading level, if they don't score high enough on the standardized tests, they're held back. And if they're held back, that decreases the chances of them getting to the 9th grade. It decreases the chances even more of them graduating. And that puts our kids at the, it doesn't do anything for anyone else's kids, but ours, it's like, catching a cold. They say, what's the adage? Someone else catches a cold, we catch the flu. That's what happens with our kids. So, it would be great if we could have caught them and started this program at birth. But 3K is a wonderful start. It's a great start. And I'm hoping for the best tomorrow. I'll say that.
Dr. Hursey, I have a question for you. At the last meeting, I think you voted on the center, whether you were going to keep it, raise it, or whatever. And you voted to raise it, or just not have the center any longer. So, and I think you said if people in the community came forth and spoke out about, give you some data as to why you should not vote that way. I don't know if you've changed your mind, because the community has been speaking, telling you that they truly want that center there. And I have another question. There's a rumor that when y'all raise the center, that it's going to be sold. And I think under the Office of Facility Management, that I forgot it, I think it's in section 19-199-50 or whatever it is, that you can only sell that property to build a charter school. So is that the intention of Richland One School Board?
So at the meeting last Tuesday, the vote was not to end the center. The vote was to terminate the contract, and there's a big difference.
What's the difference?
Terminating the contract is stopping what's going on right now. Terminating the center means that we're not building it, we're not considering it at all. So the vote was to terminate the contract so that we can evaluate where we are, get the land properly excavated so that those persons' homes are not flooded, and then the board has to come back and decide what is going to be done with the center. I don't think anyone has ever mentioned a charter, so like you said, that's a rumor. It's a rumor. I mean, I don't know where that came from.
Those people whose houses were destroyed so by the water and stuff, if you go to Richland County, all that was propaganda for voting. If you go to Richland County, you can find documentation to prove that most of those houses had complaints way before that center went there.
There you go.
So all that was propaganda for election. So, everybody in Low Richland is not ignorant. We know how to do research, we know how to go and find out. But besides from that, if you're going to terminate the contract, that's basically the same thing, just in different logos, different language.
That has nothing to do with the decision to terminate the contract. The discussion was simply to terminate, because right now, every month, you all can go out on the website and look at some of the district expenses. We're spending between $50,000 to $70,000 each month right now for the past year, and nothing's being done on the property. So if we decide not to terminate and we just postpone, we're continuing to spend that money every month with nothing being done on the property.
If you go ahead and make a decision and let that contractor stay there and finish the building, wouldn't it stop it?
No, but the last thing that we were given from the superintendent was that we had to stop. We don't have permission to continue building. I think that's the piece that we have not discussed according to the county.
Okay.
We can't build. It has been, they shut us down in January of 2024. So we haven't been given permission to continue building unless you
That
already
was-
got something that we haven't received.
The decision was made to suspend the project because we were awaiting a permit. The Richland County stopped us from continuing construction. So we suspended the project because we were awaiting the permit. Now, I think one thing that it was brought up in one of our meetings where there was a letter that was written in, it was either June or July, a few months before the election. Yes, from Weaver, our superintendent. That letter was not sent in a timely manner to the district. It was held for 4 months. So for 4 months, we want to talk about spending $50,000 a month. That letter could have been sent in August. That letter would have shown the district in a more positive light than what was going on, during those months that letter was being held, and all these narratives were out, being formed, and all the district, did some illegal things, and we should be in orange jumpsuits. All of that was being said out there. But this letter would have put the district in a better light. It would have, put out more of an understanding of what the reality of what was going on, actually going on.
Who held the letter?
The state leadership.
Dr.
Well, it came from another agency, but the letter was held. She's still the leader.
For 4 months.
For 4 months.
We can ask them to be accountable for their actions. That's one thing that I can do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that letter, would have shown the light, but there was an election that was coming up, so I think it's in my opinion that it was held until late October. That's when we got the letter, late October. And the damage was already done. I'm not saying that affected the outcome of an election, but it's been said out there, so it's possible. But I just really think that we still
But
now
what about
have a
to
decision
Dr.
that
Hursey?
could be made.
What about to Dr. Hursey's point that you don't have authorization to continue this project? Is that how everybody sees it? I want to make sure that if there's no
I think we as a board can come together. We're a team. We're supposed to be working together to get these things done that we need in our district. We can go together as a district, as a school board, to the superintendent of education, let them know our community wants this. We need it. We need to figure out what can we do right here in this moment to get this done. And it is legal to move forward. It's just that we have to, have all of our ducks in a row. We're gonna do things, cross our T's and dot all of our I's, because that's what, is required of us all of a sudden, but not other districts, but it's required of us, and we're gonna do that. We should do it, but we just need to make a decision here today and possibly tomorrow to get it done, to do that.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk a little louder. Okay.
I saw in the news where the State Department of Education superintendent stood up and said that she was putting that project on hold. And she said that. Wow. She said she was putting it on hold until further notice. And that was back here last year.
But is that the case though? Is that the case?
My question is, I'm not done. If she was putting it on hold, then what you're saying is totally opposite from what I interpret the situation to be. What you're saying is that now, if you guys come together collectively, you can go there and present something back to the State Board of Education, the superintendent, to let them know that you're ready to settle. Has she decided that she wants to go along with this project as planned?
Well, that's a decision that she would have to make, but what I'm saying is we can, as a body, a governing body, can go to them and have a discussion and say that we have the support of our community. Our community wants this, and we would like to see how to move forward so we can get it done. That's what I'm saying is possible. I'm not saying that she's.
Together as a board?
No.
Are y'all coming together?
We're gonna have to get them 2 seats.
I would love for us to. We can make this decision now to.
We're gonna raise enough money to get rid
work
of y'all.
towards something to get this project done.
Okay, Ms. Green, I saw Ms. Green's hand over here. Okay, Ms. Green.
I would like to know what was the reason why Ellen Weaver said put the facility on suspension. We keep talking around that, but I'd like some clarity. Why did she say that it wasn't what she wanted, or it wasn't up? What was the reason why she put it on suspension? Like everybody's saying, she put it on suspension. Why? Why did she put it on suspension?
I think her actual reason, I don't know if it would be favorable for her to say out loud. I don't know. She never, I don't ever remember hearing a reason why.
If you will read the letter.
She did not give the board a reason for suspending the project. She just simply said the project is suspended, and you all didn't even challenge her as to why.
No, she did tell us why it was suspended. Because it did not go through the proper permitting stage. And when it was an early childhood learning center, she said that was not her position. And so it would have to go to DHEC or First Steps or something else, because it was not in her realm of qualifying that. When they went back to change it.
That was already rectified. That was already rectified. What she just referenced has already been moved beyond.
Her initial reasoning was that it was not in her wheelhouse to do, because it was not that age group.
The birth
through 5th grade, 5-year-old. And when they went back and changed it without changing the plan, when Richland One went back and said, okay, now we're going to change it to 3K to 2nd grade, she said, but you haven't changed the plans, and then you're trying to do that and just renaming the rooms and doing this. And she said, no, I will not step out of that realm to do that. When we tried to have a conversation with her so that we could get things moving or trying to move in a direction that was feasible, it was still brought to the attention that we were not going to be able to do so. And so we were left in a quagmire because we couldn't move forward and we couldn't move backwards. We were just there, losing money every day, every month.
So why did it take her so long to, the building, if that building is up, so why did it take her?
Because we stepped out to do that without permission.
Okay, have y'all got the permission now?
No, we do not.
Why y'all have not got the permission?
We have not gotten any response, so.
See, they're holding it
State
again.
leadership.
She was,
And you know, all those taxpayers' money is all our money. State, federal,
Right.
county, all of it's our money.
Yes, ma'am.
And when we get a group of people from the state to tell the county, y'all can't do this, and they won't move to try to help it, they don't care nothing about your community. You are our community.
I want to say, I watched this whole process. I've seen the boards change. I've gone to the board meeting. I read the letters that came from the superintendent. And what Ms. Marie was asking was the right question. She was saying, why won't they move forward? The problem is because when they started this process, a lot of us went to the meeting that Richland County had with the superintendent and our commissioner at the time, and we were told the building was for 0 to 3. That's what it was. Well, the superintendent, because there are a lot of letters not being discussed during this. There were multiple letters. There was letters sent in August. It was letters sent in October. It was a letter sent in December. And it was a letter sent in January. The problem with the process was what they started off telling the Department of Education was one thing. Then they said, okay, she's right. They said, well, this is going to be from 3K to the age 2. They voted on that. The problem with that was they went back and sent 3 separate applications with 3 different age groups, and everybody was told something different. You can see the letters, you can forward them, you can look at them.
The superintendent made them, they're accessible to the public. On there, part of the problem was, well, they said they were waiting for a permit. The problem with the permit was, in one of those meetings, one of the board members asked, hey, did you get an application to DHEC? DHEC never got an application. They never got a building permit. The age group kept changing. They told county council one thing, and the problem is the communication, it was a breakdown of communication. The superintendent said, plain and simple, no, what you just said, which is, no, you told us you was gonna do this, nothing changed on this architectural plan. All you did was rename the things in the building. The building got more offices than it got classrooms. And even at the zoning meeting, when we went to the zoning meeting, they pulled the application, which the building was supposed to have a dentist's office, a doctor's office, an eye clinic, a pantry, and the classrooms. It was more than just an early learning center. I don't think anybody here does not want this community to have what we need and what we deserve. I don't think anybody here doesn't want that. But what I do believe is that if we're gonna do something, it needs to be done the right way. Hold on, I'm not done. No. I'll give you a minute. No. I'll give you 1 minute. I'm almost done.
I just raised my hand. I didn't say anything to you.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So the only thing that I'm just saying is that I get everybody wants it. I think that they gave great examples today. I know the community wants some. I know we got kids out here who can't read. I know we got kids out here that are in some serious situations. But I do believe that we put our efforts together to move forward. If the contract is going to be done, that's fine. But I would hope that if the data supports it and we can get it done to get the building great, take the steps necessary. But what my hope is that just as many people that I see here tonight, we actually are showing up in these schools to help these kids. Because every week I'm seeing they need a volunteer for this. They need a volunteer for that. We got our schools, I get pests and things. Yes, I'm one of those people to talk about it because they're just in Lower Richland. They just had to tape off an area for high mold. We got kids feeding the rats in the classroom because the rats coming through the holes. Our schools are in despair. I have no problem. I know what you had heard.
That's an indictment on facilities, and they ain't going for that.
What may not be sent out, I'm just saying, we don't.
That's a stretch.
Wait, because I'm not making it up.
That's a stretch.
I don't have a dog in this fight, but I do believe, as us being taxpayers, we should want our schools to be innovative, to be state of the art. Because at Hayward, when they was looking for a diesel engine, we was all over town trying to find one. They cost $50,000. The kids don't have a diesel engine, but we got a diesel engine program. The welding machine, Lower Richland cosmetology, the fire truck. You don't have to come to board meetings to speak. They're online, we post them all the time. But I watch how these people come up there every meeting asking for money for programs. I think it is great for us to help kids 3K. But I was at that meeting when she told us it was going to be a 0 to 3. Any funding that you want to try to get from the state of South Carolina is not going to fund 0 to 3 because that is a daycare.
That's not true.
Okay,
That's
thank
not
you.
true.
Thank you for your comment. Okay.
It's not true.
I don't have a question. I just want to make a statement, a comment. While I was sitting here listening, a couple of weeks ago, my church had a forum, and they had representatives there from other districts. And like Brother Reese said, give us something to show, because they're trying to get the law. They're not on third grade level. They're gonna keep them back. And a person stood up, and my heart dropped. They had a child in the district that was in college and could not read. This child is going back to school, that district. And I know personally for myself, I have 2 boys, black men, in Richland One, and my child has been, both of my children have been one of those children to say, teacher said, pass on, they'll catch up. We're doing 2 minutes, pass on, catch up. And I understand, yeah, it starts at home, But we all know in this area, a lot of these kids are being raised by grandparents and some parents. But if the parents can't read and the grandparents, how are they going to teach the children to read? That's all I need to know.
Amen.
And like, the building will be great, but I'm like, Brother Reese, let's find something now. Because when they pass this law, and I'm not being racist, I'm not being this, but the state superintendent probably won't give a darn if your child they will not care, and they're not going to take care of your child, while he's at L&S Center.
No.
They're not. And they can't even go to DJJ because they got so much issues in there. How are they learning? And so we do have to come together. We do need more people, and I've been at Lower Richland. We've offered to come to Lower Richland. We were not invited to Lower Richland at one time. It was not a time for us to give. It's not now. It was previous. We asked could we come. We never gave us an option. I went to every SIC meeting that my child was in the 9th grade, and it's probably been 5 people there. The same 5 people every year. And when things happen, we on the Facebook negative. They're looking at that. They say, oh, they're fighting each other. So do you really think they can? They don't. But why not? If we're saying we're about the children, why aren't we at these SIC meetings for the schools? They have them every month.
What I'd like to share with you
Show up and complete
is
surveys.
that right now, 1st grade, 2nd grade, if they need remediation, if they need help during the summer programs, they have to be done at the school in which the child attends. So if you're going to have one, they can't say we're going to take them all to Hopkins or Gadsden. It has to be at Weber. It has to be at Harrell Hill. It has to be at the schools. That's what we want them to offer, because we have to school our children. And when you say 3rd grade, I knew a couple of people who asked me, please, I have to jump through too many hoops to get my grandchild or my child held back because he or she is not ready. And it is the fact that they're automatically passing them on unless you fight for your child because your child needs that extra help. Exactly. Exactly.
Then why not have birth to 5-year-olds?
You're going to see me.
Right.
I'm not that parent that my child does something, that's every time I come.
Right. And we need more parents like that. And we also need people in the school fighting in the school for what's good for children and what makes them achieve. It's very important that we recognize that and that we make it a local issue and we fight for our children.
And this one, I want to refer back to what Robin said here, because we've been hearing about this either or narrative. We're either going to do the Childhood Education Center or we're going to fund all of these other things that the district needs. My question is, do we have the capacity to do both? To do an early childhood education center and fund all of these things? Because I heard clearly at the last school board meeting that there was a capacity at the district to do all these things. And I want to ask, do we have the ability at the district to do? No. I didn't say you said it. I didn't say you said it. I said I wanted to address the concerns you had. But I want to know from the school board members, is there the capacity to do both things simultaneously?
Respectfully, I don't think we can answer that because we are just 3 people on the board. There's a process and it takes a team to get all that stuff done. And we have to also look at the financials, and with all the federal cuts and everything that's going to be taking place, we can't just say that. Now, there are certain things that can be done. If you attend the meeting tomorrow, you'll see that there's some capital projects that are already on the list. And so the district has a plan in place as to how they address certain capital projects. So to say that they can all be done simultaneously is a possibility, but we can't, none of us can answer that.
Let me ask you one question. What is your position on what is your position on
I'm Secretary Treasurer.
The center.
No, he said on moving forward with the center.
On moving forward with the center.
Not your position.
I voted 2 weeks ago to terminate the contracts.
So 2 things. terminating the contract, but you also said you didn't terminate the center.
Right.
So those are two kind of
two
things.
different
So
things.
which is which?
Terminate the contract is terminating building of the center
So
at
then,
this
so
time.
what you're telling me then, there's a possibility that a new contract can be hard?
Certainly, once everything has been evaluated and start, yes. Yeah, we could even go with the same contract.
Okay, right, but no, we need to be clear with that. So what you're saying then is you can terminate this contract, but a new contract can come on board and you will support.
I didn't
the
say
land
that.
center.
When we evaluate, I didn't say that. We have to evaluate. No, what?
You know Ms. Weston.
No, they're not.
No,
I'm
it's
not
green.
gonna. No, we.
No, be clear. You have to be.
Okay, let's
verbatim.
let's give your
Don't be-
attention.
you know, it's
No, what, Mr. Faber, the meeting, the discussion last week was to terminate the contract.
Right.
And Commissioner Clyburn made a motion to postpone. I think the
Indefinitely.
wording- Indefinitely, right, postpone, right? So terminating the, we can't discuss everything that went on in executive session, okay? But our chair and the attorney that is representing the Vince Ford Center has already met with Superintendent Weaver, okay? And the attorney has presented us with options, and we're making our decisions based on the options that we were presented. And that's all I'm gonna say.